who are serving on our panel and are anxious to talk with you. And so first and foremost, I want to introduce myself. My name is Adam White. I work in new student orientation, and I'll be moderating this evening. But the stars of the show, we have some fantastic panelists, again, joining us from different areas on campus that are really crucial to student success and the transitions that students make as they are joining UT, whether as a first-time student or a transfer student this spring. So I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, name, position, and department that they're representing, and then we're going to go ahead and kick things off. First, before I do that though, folks, if you do have questions for us this evening, please go ahead and share those in the question and answer feature here on the Zoom, or if you're joining us on YouTube, please pop them in the box there as well. And again, we'll have folks responding to your questions here live on air. We do have a fantastic team behind the scenes answering questions in the chat as well. So if your question does not get responded to, don't worry, we'll take care of it behind the scenes. All right, Doug Reynolds, if you could go ahead and kick us off here and introduce yourself. You're on mute, Doug.
Hi, everybody. I'm Doug Reynolds. I direct the Academic Success Center. I've been at UT for 15 years. All 15 of those years have been in that office. We provide the academic support to all undergraduate students, and that primarily takes the form of a couple of things. Course-based help when in classes through the Vol Study Center, which is supplemental instruction, which group tutoring, and then also individual tutoring as well, and then also academic coaching through our office as well. It's really good to be here tonight. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Doug. Stephanie, could you go next, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Kitt, and I'm the director at the Center for Career Development and Academic Exploration. And we're excited to work with your students. We do all things careers, so whether that's finding a part-time job or internship or choosing a major, and then those important plans post-graduation, we will be there to assist.
Thank you. Megan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Woodward, and I serve as a coordinator in the Center for Student Engagement. I've been at UT professionally for 5.5 years, but graduated about 10 years ago. So excited to speak with new vols coming in. The Center for Student Engagement, we are the primary hub on campus for all things student involvement, from student organizations, student activities, events, all kinds of things that you can think of to get plugged in.
Thanks, Megan. And Maria.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maria. I'm a coordinator in the Jones Center for Leadership and Service. Our office is a hub for volunteering and leadership exploration on campus. So if your student is interested in volunteering, getting involved in the community, or learning more about how to be a good leader, our office is the place to be.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, everybody. And again, folks, if you have questions for our panelists this evening, please plug them in the question and answer box below. But as you're thinking about the questions that you want to ask, I'll go ahead and get things kind of kicked off here. Stephanie, I want to start with you, if that's okay. For our incoming family members, and if we have new students joining us tonight as well, what are some kind of like 1 or 2 main things that you recommend they be considering right now as they're joining the volunteer family in regards to careers, internships, student employment, things of that nature?
Thanks for that question, Adam. We think that being exploratory and taking some time to figure out exactly what you want to do is totally okay. And so we do encourage students to engage with the Career Center so that they can just start talking through their plans and make sure they look at all of their options. If they have a major that they feel very good about, we can still help them fine tune what they can do with that major. We have an awesome resource on the career.utk.edu website that's called What Can I Do with This Major? And students love being able to just look at that and see all the different areas you can go into, the types of employers that will hire you, ways that you can make yourself more marketable. So I think First off, don't be worried about it, but do start engaging in terms of what you want your major and career goal to be. And then if you feel like you want to start gaining experience, maybe getting your toes wet with a part-time job on or off campus, or engaging with our wonderful partners here, the Jones Center for Leadership and Service, working on those leadership skills, getting involved in student organizations on campus is a good start too.
Thanks, Stephanie. Fantastic. And you're gonna probably hear that a lot tonight, folks. Plug in websites and online resources. And so we highly encourage you to jot those down. We're going to share as many of them in the chat as we can, so that you have a direct link as well. But definitely check those out during the session this evening, and of course save those so you can reference them later on. There's tons of great information on the UTK website, specifically within all 4 of the departments joining us this evening. Maria, I want to go to you next. One of the hot topics or main questions that I know I hear a lot from incoming students and families as well is, how do I get volunteer hours? How do I get plugged into that area of the UT community, the Knoxville community? What would you say to those new students about how to go about making that happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. So lucky for us, we are the volunteers. And so getting involved and being a volunteer is something that we hold very dear to our hearts. And so if you are looking for a place that will help you get involved in the community, I think this is the place to be. And you can do that a number of different ways. I would start kind of thinking about what you're interested in volunteering with, what you're interested in serving with. So if you're really passionate about animals, if you're really passionate about hunger or homelessness, like start researching nonprofits in the area. And we have a list of a ton of nonprofits in the Knoxville area. So if you go to our website, leadserve.utk.edu, we have a list of those. If kind of reaching out to those seems a little intimidating, that's okay. I'm also not one to just like reach out cold turkey to people. So we have a lot of opportunities for you to serve alongside fellow volunteers. And so one of those is actually coming up in late January, early February. It's called Martin Luther King Jr. Days of Service. And so you can sign up on our website starting on Monday. It'll be 2 weeks of service. It'll be about 2 to 3 hour blocks where we take you actually to the nonprofit. You get to serve, learn about a nonprofit in the community, and then we bring you back. So we provide transportation. And so if you're looking for a quick way to get involved right off the bat, I think Martin Luther King Jr. Days of Service is a really good opportunity. I think also we have monthly VolServe series. And so each month we'll host a volunteer opportunity surrounding a different topic, like I mentioned. So something about homelessness, hunger, environmental justice. And so we'll work with several nonprofits in the area that focus on that theme. And like I said, we provide transportation. And so you can go to those nonprofits, serve with them, learn about what they're doing in the Knoxville and East Tennessee community, get to know other fellow students that are also wanting to get involved and wanting to volunteer. And then we bring you back on the bus or on the van that we rent. So yeah, there are those ways. You can also go serve during the fall, winter, spring breaks if you want to kind of spend a long time volunteering. So we call those the Vol Breaks programs, and you can find all of that on our website. But yeah, we have everything from like hour-long volunteer opportunities to break-long to if you're like really committed and want to do, a semester-long project with a nonprofit, we have those opportunities as well.
Thanks, Maria. That's a lot of great information. Sounds like if students want to volunteer, they'll get a chance to do that in some way, shape, or form at any point during their time here at UT, which is fantastic. And again, we have an office dedicated just to that. Megan, I want to go to you next, if that's okay. Another big topic, right, for new incoming students and families. They want to make sure their students have a chance to get involved, and obviously, which is another way to meet other students. So where do students go? We'll just kind of start there. Where do they go to like figure out what we have to offer for them?
Yeah, absolutely. If your student wants to do a little research before they come on campus, they can easily log into one of our websites, which is vollink.utk.edu. As long as they have that net ID and password set up, they can log in. And that is primarily the hub for all of our student organizations on campus. It ebbs and flows depending on how many student organizations we have active at a given time, but we have had upwards of 500 plus student organizations. We like to tell students there is literally something for everyone as far as getting involved on campus. And if for some reason in that number of student organizations, your student can't find one that they absolutely gel with, they can create their own. And we highly encourage that. We've had first year students, new students to campus create their own organizations that have been extremely successful. And our office can certainly help walk you through those steps to do that if that's something your student's interested in. There are 23 different categories on Vollink of student organizations, and it breaks it down really well because, again, the 500 or so, that can be pretty overwhelming. So instead of scrolling through pages and pages of student organizations, if you're interested in academic organizations, for example, or multicultural organizations, ones that are connected with professional organizations, so on and so forth. There are all those categories that break that down. Another option of what I would suggest too is come visit us. We are located in the Student Union. We have a student engagement suite that houses our office, the Center for Student Engagement, as well as SGA, JCLS, and OSFL, which is our sorority and fraternity life. They're located just down the hall from us. So all of those areas, you can just go pop in and talk with someone. We have a staff of, we've ebbed and flowed too, upwards 10 to 12. Any one of us is more than happy to chat with you or your student about how to get plugged in, how to get involved. We also have really amazing students that work at our front desk too, that are very well plugged in, very well involved, and can speak more to that student experience and things that they've done and ways that they were able to get involved when they first started at UT. So there are definitely plenty of options. I highly recommend it. That's our big thing. We want you to get involved. We want you to volunteer and just be part of this wonderful community.
I can vouch for Megan. The engagement suite is incredible in the student union. Definitely check it out when you're on campus once the semester kicks off. Megan, real quick, just to kind of tie this conversation up a little bit. When do students need to get involved? Like, do you think they need to jump in it right away, or is it okay if some maybe want to take their time, get acclimated to campus, and maybe even wait a semester or even a year to really start diving into things?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have a student that is just a go-getter and wants to do all the things and get involved right off the bat, go for it. But if you need a little time just to think about it, again, 500 or so organizations, all the different events that happen on campus, it can be overwhelming when you're trying to get settled and trying to get acclimated into campus with classes starting, new environment, so on. That is perfectly fine. If you just want to feel out what those organizations do, that's the great thing about Vollink too. It lists information about each student organization, including their contact information. If they are an open organization, which means they don't have any kind of formal recruitment process to join them, meeting dates. So if your student just wants to hop into a meeting and see what the organization's about, or even email that president or advisor to ask them some questions about that organization, maybe about when they meet, if they can kind of feel it out, that's perfectly fine too. We will have some opportunities for students in almost student engagement fair type events coming up. They're going to be a little bit smaller than we do in the fall, but that's really just an opportunity for some of our student organizations to table on campus, which basically means they'll be out there hanging out at a table with a few of their members, and students can go up to them and answer any questions that students may have about that organization, if there are any kind of recruitment processes, so on and so forth. But all of that information can definitely be found on Vollink, which it looks like Lindsay put in the chat. So definitely check that out. Keep an eye on calendar.utk.edu, as well as the events tab in Vollink, because that will list not only events that we have in our office, but other events that are happening with student organizations. So feel it out. But if you want to go ahead and get involved, we definitely encourage students to do that as well.
Megan, thanks so much. And just to piggyback off of that, we also have the Vol Life app, which is where all of the Big Orange Welcome programming will be as well here in just another day or so. And Big Orange Welcome again takes place during the first 6 weeks of the semester. And it's just a collaboration across the entire campus. So a lot of the things Megan was talking about can be found there in that free app as well. Doug Reynolds, thank you for being patient and going forth here as we kick things off. But I do want to turn it to you and talk a little bit about academic success, right? Can you shed some light, I'm going to start real general for you here on just the tutoring services that we offer students and how you recommend students getting plugged into tutoring, no matter what kind of tutoring I guess they're looking for, if that makes sense.
Sure. First of all, no shame in going forth. That's batting cleanup. So I'm very pleased to be able to get some RBIs in that increases my contract each year. So for my real job, let's talk about tutoring a little bit. So our tutoring offerings are vast. First of all, so if a student is in a standard 100 or 200 level class, so a freshman level class, sophomore level class, that has any kind of oomph to it at all in terms of numbers, we probably have tutoring or supplemental instruction for that. We have academic resources for it, and that is first of all free. Well, I'll say it this way: it comes with the cost of tuition, so you don't have to pay anything extra to get tutoring resources from our office at all. So all of that is covered, and it's very easy to find as well. So online, if you Google UTK tutoring, UTK academics, anything like that, you'll get to our office, and it's prominent there is our tutoring schedule and our supplemental instruction schedule. The difference between those two is supplemental instruction. You'll know when you're in a class that has supplemental instruction, because your supplemental instruction leader, your SI leader, will reach out to you by email if you're enrolled in one of those classes. And those classes are typically more challenging classes. They're classes where students have had a more difficult time earning grades of C or higher in those classes. So lots of science classes. And chemistry would certainly top the list, but even a class like Stats 201, supplemental instructions there, and our results on that are fantastic. And I know the word tutoring, a lot of people think that's trying to get help to pass a class, and in higher ed, it's really not that way at all. It's trying to maximize your grade. The vast majority of people who are in supplemental instruction are trying to turn a B into an A. They have aspirations for graduate school, professional school, that sort of thing, and are trying to maximize that grade. And so it's really what smart students do. It's not a sign of weakness or a sign of trying to survive a class. Supplemental instruction meets twice a week, and it's 1 hour meeting. The SI leaders have already taken the class, made an A or an A- in the class before, have been recommended by the instructor, and are sitting in on the class again. And so so that's one form of tutoring is supplemental instruction. The other form of tutoring is tutoring. That's one-on-one or small group. And the other thing I'll say before closing out this is just that it is the modality is multiple. If you want to meet in person, we can make that transpire. If we want to meet online, that's where a lot of our resources are right now. And so whichever way you want to do it, we can do it that way.
Thanks, Doug. Again, lots of great information. Tutoring, extremely helpful, popular topic for students, and it's a service that won't just serve you well during your first semester, but your entire time here at UT. So family members that are joining us, please help us help your student by encouraging them to take advantage of tutoring sooner rather than later, right? We don't want to wait till it's too late and they're like trying to dig themselves out of a hole. It's best to kind of get ahead of it as soon as possible.
Yeah. And Adam, if a student is thinking, that they have 4 classes and 2 of those are particularly challenging, for getting tutoring and SI from the start of the semester is a great idea. The worst that can happen is your confidence is increased because you get in there and you think, okay, I have been studying the right things. And if increased confidence is the worst that can happen, that's fantastic.
I was never a math guy, so when I had to take a math class, Doug, I just built it in right out of the gate.
Absolutely.
Like I'm just getting extra help, right? Throughout
Absolutely.
the entire class instead of waiting to see how it goes, even though I probably knew that answer. Thanks again, Doug. Stephanie, I want to go back to you. Campus employment, students trying to find a job on campus. We have a ton of employment opportunities, I know. And I know we have a fantastic system here at UT where it's kind of a one-stop shop. Can you talk a little bit about Handshake and how students can take advantage of that?
Yes, I was hoping you would ask me about Handshake. So families, please encourage your students to engage with a system that is on the Career Center's website called Handshake. And Handshake is the place where any job opportunity that we learn about, part-time, internship, full-time, is posted. So to give you a sense, last year we had over 40,000 jobs posted on the Handshake system across all different kinds of industries. Handshake is also where students can learn about any type of event that's career related, whether the Career Center is hosting it or some of our employer partners. We have a number of job fairs throughout the year. One that would be of interest to your incoming students is at the end of March, we're doing a summer experience fair. So if you want your students to line up some kind of summer job, that's going to be a great event for them to attend. But focusing right now just on on-campus jobs, I'd like to share two resources. In addition to Handshake, which will have some part-time jobs, and there is a search filter that you can select for on campus so that you don't have to filter through hundreds of jobs, but you can go to directly what's on campus. That's going to be a great starting point. We also have a person on our team who you can make an appointment with to get part-time job assistance, and appointments are made through Handshake. And then the third thing to be aware of that is not done through our office, but through the Office of Financial Aid. If your student completed a FAFSA form, they may have qualified for something called Work Study. And Work Study provides students the opportunity to get a part-time job on campus, and they are paid $9 an hour. So it's a good opportunity, and they are in nearly every type of unit. So probably all of our offices hire them. So they could be doing office work, but we have our rec sports center would hire work study students. They might get a job in a computing lab. So the type of work you can do is varied. And the student needs to connect with financial aid to see if they've qualified for that. They're receiving emails. So if they did qualify, they would get an email. But if you just want to double check, you can send your students to One Stop to look into that.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. And Handshake updates throughout the entire year, right? So as new employment opportunities pop up, they'll get added. And so if you don't see something right away that catches your eye, keep checking on a daily basis. Maria, I want to go back to you. You mentioned this earlier, and it's a program that I love. I participated in a version of this during my undergraduate career, and that's Fall Breaks. And I think it's something that, in my opinion, all students should take advantage of, even though I know it's not quite possible. Could you talk a little bit more about Fall Breaks and kind of when it takes place and how students can learn more?
Sure. So this is the program that I run. So it's a program very dear and near to my heart. It was something that I did when I was an undergrad here at UT. And as luck would have it, I got to come back and help run the program. But like I said, Vol Breaks is what we call, or you may have heard at other institutions be called, an alternative break. And so instead of going to the beach or hanging out with your family for the break, you can go and serve and learn about different communities, not just local, but across the country. And so specifically for the spring, we are hosting 7 fall breaks. And so students will get to travel to different cities around the Southeast. We're staying not semi-local, but semi-close within a 5-hour driving distance. And they'll get to learn about a social topic. So they range from environmentalism to children and youth, things like that. And they serve with nonprofits in the area. And then the big overarching question is, what can I do with this knowledge? How can I take what I've learned and bring it back to Knoxville and bring it back to the communities I care about? And so, like I said, this spring we'll be having 7 trips. And if you want to learn more about Vol Breaks, and if you want your student to go, which I highly recommend they go, I think it's a great experience. And I have a lot of students that will participate one time and they're like, okay, I'm going again next season. So the next one coming up is the spring one. But if you already have spring break plans, I know sometimes you got to get those travel plans going really far in advance. So if you already have spring plans, we also have summer options, we have fall options and winter options as well. But you can find those on our website. So that's leadserve.utk.edu.
Outstanding. I'm glad you had the opportunity to talk about a program that you run. That's great. And again, highly recommend any and all students to take advantage of Vol Breaks. Megan, I want to go to you here. You talked a lot about already how students can get involved in organizations and where they can find events and whatnot. One thing I don't want to get overlooked is that there's a lot of incredible leadership opportunities within your office as well for students. Can you talk a little bit about how students can be involved in your department in that capacity rather than just maybe participating in an organization or an event?
Yeah, absolutely. We have, as of now, 3 different organizations that are directly advised out of the Center for Student Engagement. The main one is Campus Events Board, or CEB. It has 3 different committees. One is arts and culture, one is entertainment, and the other is slipping my mind at the moment. But Campus Events Board, it's basically an opportunity for students to plan events on campus. They work directly with our office. We have professional staff members who advise Campus Events Board. Sorry, I think my dog snuck up here. Campus Events Board, and they get to plan really awesome things, including our end of the year concert series, Volapalooza, which is coming back this year. So we're super excited about that. We also have alternative programming on Friday nights called Vol Night Longs. So that happens typically once a month, and students very much have a hand in that as far as choosing the theme for that, buying all the things, and engaging students. We've hosted bachelorette nights, all kinds of really fun stuff that happen throughout the year. Typically, our office will host several events throughout the week. Over 2020 and pandemic, we've had hundreds of events just coming from our office. So that's one really awesome opportunity for students to have a part in planning those campus events and having a say in what's happening with that. We also have another organization called the Org, and it's the Organization Resource Group. So that's where students can help other students find ways to get involved and get plugged in on campus. So students can come to our office, meet with those org students. Again, if they're not sure how to find a student organization or VolLink is confusing, they can help support students in that way. They also support student organizations in offering trainings to some of those organization members, exec boards, workshops, and so on and so forth. So they do a lot of really, really great work as well. And then one organization that I advise is called All Campus Events, or ACE. They're actually one of the oldest student organizations on campus. They started back in 1919 as the All Students Club, which at the time was part of SGA, or they were together with SGA, and then SGA became its own thing. We don't work directly with SGA, but they are really great partners with us and are located in the same suite. But All Campus Events, they plan 3 traditional events throughout the year. One being homecoming and homecoming competitions. So a lot of our student groups will be involved in those homecoming competitions that happen throughout the week during the fall semester, typically around a football game. They also do 2 other traditional events in the spring. One is called All Sing, which is basically what it sounds like. It's a group singing competition. One of my favorite events to get to see. These students do amazing work and come up with really amazing sets. That'll be coming up in February. So if you want to go check that out, definitely be sure to do that. And then another event, although it's a very funny name, it's called Carnicus. It's basically a skit-based competition that groups will also compete in. It has its origins in UT a long time ago. It used to host a carnival and a circus, and then it somehow became Carnicus. So ACE is a really great way to be involved in these very traditional events that have been happening on our campus for a very long time. Those students are extremely invested. A lot of our Greek groups do participate in those, but you don't have to be Greek to either be on ACE or to participate in the ACE events. It is open to any student organization. So lots of ways to get that leadership in our office and within the student organizations that we directly advise. But I encourage students to look at those 500 plus student organizations. There are all kinds of leadership opportunities, whether students want that position of leadership or if they just want to be involved as a member and exert their leadership in that way too. Because as Maria, we know leadership is not positional. So students can be leaders in any way within their organizations or however they choose to be plugged in on campus.
Thanks for that, Megan. Appreciate it. Doug, I want to throw it to you here. You might have mentioned this earlier, and I just want to make sure it gets a couple minutes to be expanded on. But Vol Success Teams is a critical opportunity for students to really just make sure that they're transitioning to UT, not just during the first couple of days of the semester, but throughout the entire really first semester, almost the first year here while they're a UT student. Can you talk about a little bit about what Vol Success Teams are and kind of how your office plays a role in that?
Sure. And that's not something we touched on earlier. So absolutely. Vol Success Team is I've not seen anything like it at other schools. It's a support network that where each incoming student has support from three key areas at least, and so those are academic advising. And if you're already registered for spring semester, you've probably already met with an advisor. You surely have already met with an academic advisor, and academic advisors are it's not just limited to curriculum, but curriculum is at the heart of what an advisor would do. An advisor would also talk to you about internships, those sorts of things. But you'd see your academic advisor for any questions about adding the classes, progressing in a major, that sort of thing. And then academic coaching, which is what our office does. And so if you are an honors student, you've got an honors coach. If you're not an honors student, you're coached in our office. And that is if an academic advisor gets you into classes, an academic coach helps you to be successful in those classes and to navigate university life. And so we always say, when in doubt, check with your coach. If you're not sure who to check with about anything at UT, check with your academic coach. But it's not a situation where you have to do all the checking. Your academic coach will be communicating with you somewhat regularly, not wearing out your inbox, but a layered approach of communication that's timely and relevant. And so checking your UT email for communication from your coach is a fantastic idea. And then the third member of the Vol Success Team is the one-stop counselor. And so that is really anything administrative in terms of getting you it's payment, and it's a combination of several offices. It's a combination of admissions, the registrar's office, the bursar's office, which on a lot of campuses is called the treasurer. It's where you pay your bill, that sort of thing, and financial aid. And so one-stop counselor will be if you're trying to apply for financial aid for the next year, that's absolutely the person that you would talk with, or with any kind of questions along those lines. So each student has a dedicated, at least a dedicated trio there. We also consider instructors part of the Vol Success Team, because when it comes to questions about what's going on in the class, your individual instructor in that class is the best place to start. Okay. I've already mentioned we have Vol Study Center resources that can help you with the practices in that class. But if you got a question about an upcoming test, if you got a question about what how things are graded, that sort of thing, or if you're just excited about something you encountered in class and you'd like to know more about it, those are conversations that on this level are very welcome and the very kind of thing that should be happening. So and I'll say this, if you are if you're this much excited about the academic opportunities that are before you, I encourage you to be this much excited about it. It's awesome, the difference between what you've been doing before and what you'll get to be doing on the academic front. And so going ahead and having conversations with instructors is a great idea as well. The Vol Success Team will evolve as you go through your experience at UT. It'll change from year to year, but starting out, that's the basis of it, and it's and those areas kind of have you covered. It really does everything that you would have a question about. That team has your back your first semester and first year here.
Thanks so much, Doug. One thing, just to tack on, you mentioned about the instructors or professors being part of all success teams. It's crazy to me that, I think it's a preconceived notion that instructors, professors may be intimidating, or they don't want to, take extra time to work with students or support them. It just couldn't be further from the truth. They want you to come and ask questions and attend their office hours. So students, if you're here, please keep that in mind. Family members, if you're here, please, talk to your students about that, and trying to develop those relationships with their instructors will go a long, long way. Maria, I want to throw it to you here. We're going to be wrapping up, but I wanted to get your thoughts. I know you mentioned that you, at one point, were an undergraduate student here at UT, and whether we're talking with new students or new family members, do you just have a piece of advice or just some thoughts based off of your experiences that you want to share to kind of help make this transition to the UT family hopefully a smooth one?
Yeah, well, I think my first piece of advice you all have already said is go to tutoring, even if you think you're good in the class. I really wish that I would have taken more advantage of that. So that would be my number one. I think my number two is just encourage your student, or if you're a student on the call, just get involved. And especially your first semester, I would encourage you to just try anything, even if you're remotely interested. Use that time to really explore things that you are interested in, like things that you don't think you might be good at, but try it anyway. And then after you get to know kind of everything you want to do, or you try something out and you're like, oh, I don't want to do that again. That was intramurals for me. I am not a sports ball person, but I found that out my first semester of college. But try everything out your first semester, see what you like, and then take that time, maybe your semester afterwards, to narrow that down. Of man, I really enjoyed this club. I really want to get involved in a leadership position. So to start out with, definitely try to get involved across the board with whatever you can. And then as you get to know those orgs or those opportunities, start narrowing it down to things that you really want to invest in.
Great advice, Maria. And I'll say, I think it's funny because sometimes students might think that if they attend a meeting, right, or an event, that they're part of that group, forever now until they graduate. And I think it's important for them to realize that they can shop around, right? And that's totally normal, and that's almost encouraged. And sometimes it takes a few different events or participating in a couple different meetings to really find your niche or your people on campus. So again, thanks for sharing that. Stephanie, I want to throw it to you, and in case you just had some general pieces of advice as well, right? I know you've worked at UT for a while, and so even outside of your area of expertise within CCDA, but yeah, I just wanted to see what you might have to say there.
Adam, I can't pass up the opportunity to plug career a little bit more and build
on
on what Maria said, because, so much of what Maria said really translates into a student's not only academic, but career journey. So all of our panelists and all of our departments represented build the whole student. And so when you think about being at UT. We want your students to come to UT and have a great experience and love it, but then we want them to go on and be successful and achieve their goals. So whether that's continuing their education in grad school or getting that first full-time professional job. And to be successful, we really want them to develop career readiness competencies. These are things like communication skills and leadership and teamwork and technical skills. There's about 8 of them that we try to teach students. And the way they're going to develop their career readiness is through their major and coursework and excelling in academics, by engaging in leadership and service and student organizations, and then gaining experience through jobs and internships. So we want parents, families, we want you to think about all of that and help encourage your students to be putting it all together so that when they graduate in 4 years, they've got these career competencies that they need to move forward.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Stephanie. Folks, we just have a couple more minutes here. So Doug, Megan, I do want to give each of you the opportunity just to quickly share any other just pieces of advice that you might have for our new students and families. Megan, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah. Like Maria said, I was also a student here at UT and had the opportunity to come back professionally. I would say too, get involved outside of UT, get to know Knoxville, get out and about in Knoxville. There's so many great things about being in this city and being close to our downtown. There's so many activities and different things. That's one thing I wish I had done more when I was in college, especially now living here as an adult human. Something I didn't expect to return and stay here, not growing up here, but being a Tennessean. But I would say definitely get out and about, get to know Knoxville, get to know this amazing community, because they really do. UT and Knoxville really thrive off of each other too. Do the things out of Maria's office, get involved with those nonprofits that are local and give back to this community. Go visit the mountains, go to the Smokies. They're so close to here. We're also within a day's drive of, I believe, 2/3 of the US population. So get out and explore. Because you never know, honestly, what you'll find. And I'll say to you, just from the 10 years from when I graduated from UT, Knoxville has grown and changed tremendously in lots of ways that I don't think I ever would have expected. There's always something happening, always something going on. Downtown is amazing. We have amazing arts and culture and cultural events that happen fairly often. So get out, explore, get out of your halls, grab some friends, just go explore, get to know Knoxville, because it, like UT, will also become your home for these 4 or however many years that you plan to spend in the community.
Really well said, Megan. I appreciate that. I feel like you could just spend years and years here and still barely touch the tip of the iceberg with the opportunities that Knoxville and East Tennessee has to offer. So thanks for sharing that. Doug, last but certainly not least, real quick, any kind of final thoughts or piece of advice?
Sure. I mean, we spend a lot of time talking about the resources that we have on campus, but I also want to spend a little bit of time talking about the families, because for a student to be successful enough to gain entrance into UT these days, they've had a background of success and have certainly exhibited their talents, and a lot of that has been born out of family support. And so, at some schools, when you get close to enrollment, the school may really emphasize that this is a time for families to take a back seat and for the student to be the whole show. The student does need to be the show. The student needs to be the one who's doing the work. The student needs to be the one doing the engagement. But we're not a campus that says that you should say goodbye to family as you join here. It's better an and rather than a substitution. And so we think that students have been successful, at least in part because of family support. And so where families know students the best. And so we welcome that kind of communication. When you feel like the university needs to know information about your student, we welcome that kind of communication. Again, the student has to live the experience, but we welcome communication that would help us know your student better and give us context to help them succeed even more.
And on that note, I want to go ahead and close tonight's session and give a big thank you to our panelists, Stephanie, Megan, Maria, and Doug. Really, really valuable insight. Appreciate you taking the time. Folks, as you can see on the screen here, all of our departments that were joined tonight have fantastic websites, have email addresses, phone numbers that you can utilize to reach out to them to learn even more about the fantastic resources and opportunities that they offer. I do, as we continue going through the wrap up here, want to plug Big Orange Welcome one more time. Make sure that your student has downloaded the Vol Life app. It is a free app. And then within that, they download the Big Orange Welcome Guide. And again, we'll have tons and tons and tons of events and opportunities for students to engage with campus and our community during the first 6 weeks as they go through their orientation experience. As you can see on the slides here, please complete our post-session survey evaluation. You'll receive a link via email here as we hang up. And families, your students were required to complete online orientation as part of the orientation experience. However, family members, you do have the opportunity to participate in that online platform as well. It is free for you. You can go on the orientation at utk.edu website to find that link, sign in as a guest, and go through as much or as little as you'd like. And last but not least, join the Tennessee Family Association. You'll see the website listed there. Another fantastic way to really involve yourself in the UT community as a family member, participate in some fantastic events that our Family Engagement Office holds each semester, or just to stay in the loop, right? And get newsletters and things like that. Never a bad thing. And last, I said this already, but this time I really mean it. The last thing I'll say for family members that are joining their student on campus next week as they participate in their on-campus orientation called Welcome to Rocky Top, our Dean of Students Office will be hosting an open house on both of those days, January 20th and 21st from 3 to 5. Come to the union and our teams will get you to where you need to be. All right. Thanks, everybody. Panelists, thank you. Family members, students, thanks so much for joining us this evening. We can't wait to see you on campus here real soon.